a new build has arrived. Today's topic is Boom Boom Burn LMG. This gun just nukes anything you shoot. You just need one bullet. Do you have one mob in front of you? Not a problem. Just shoot one bullet and it's dead. Do you have 3 mobs in front of you? Not a problem. This gun can annihilate any boss you want. Leah Lab, whatever. Whatever it is, it will destroy it. The only downside is that it's immune against Forsaken Giant. That is super annoying, but who clears Forsaken Giant anyways? I mean, that is the worst boss in the game. So let's explain how this gun works. It has 18% chance to trigger burn on hit. When you hit targets, it triggers an explosion and it deals 300% of your psi intensity, and then it deals area of effect burn damage with a cooldown of 2 seconds, however. And the damage is reduced by 60% to players. And as well, the explosion will apply 1 stack of burn the enemies that were hit by the explosion. So shoot 1 bullet and they're already burning. Shoot another bullet, they're burning again. You can see above your health bar when you're able to inflict the explosion again. So if I shoot again, you can see that there's a 2 seconds timer bar. And as soon as it goes down, you can just apply the explosion again. And that's it. You just get an additional 30% elemental damage for Blaze. Elemental Blaze damage is this, Blaze elemental damage. So you can see that we have 30% more than any of these 3. I'm gonna jump into the Cradle and show you what we used for these boss runs. So you will need to have anti-regen for light machine guns. It will give you 15% status damage. You will need tactical combo, status enhancement. Deviation master is also very important. You'll deal way more damage if you have your deviation out. Sustained suppression, this is important. Heat agglutination is also important. It will increase your burn damage. However, burn damage does not increase your explosion damage, which is burn damage bonus. But it doesn't really matter. You just have to have the Cradle on and just forget about it. So your burning tick damage will be increased by having these 2. Then you will need to have Steady Hand and Bounty Hunter. Now for the guns that we use, you can use a secondary weapon Bingo or Wildfire. If you use Bingo, then you will have to shoot the mob or boss 3 times anywhere. It doesn't have to be in the head. And if you kill an enemy, you will gain 15% base damage for your gun for 20 seconds. You can use either that or you can use Wildfire. If you use Wildfire, then all you need to do is just mark the enemy. However, it's only 60% chance to mark an enemy, so it could take you 3 bullets or 4 bullets or 1 bullet. It's all RNG. But if the enemy is solo, then you will get weapon damage 25% when you mark them. So it's all up to you what you want to use. Personally, I would probably use Wildfire because it has more mag and it's easier to just swap to Wildfire, mark the enemy. You know, Bingo takes forever to reload, so it might be annoying. As for the accessories we use for the gun, you will need to have as much accuracy as possible. I mean, if you cannot control the gun with stability, then just put as much stability as you want, but this is what I use. So large break, compact reflex sight, tactical laser sight, also for accuracy. And then we put the purple mag so we can reload faster. If you put gold mag, you will have more ammo in the mag, but it's just gonna take so much longer to reload the gun. So we just stick with a purple mag. As well, for the ammunition, you want to definitely stick with disintegrating LMG AP ammo because it gives you psi intensity and it gives you another 10% damage increase when targets are burning, so it will help for your explosion damage. And whenever you have, let's say you summon the dino or like this, your damage is going to be insane. Look at this, 126k when I apply the burn or the explosion damage. So yeah, the gold ammo will definitely help you, and it's not that expensive to craft. It only needs Stardust Source. So now for the armor pieces that we will have to use, you need to have 4 shelter pieces. You could be going with 3 shelter and 2 savior, but the problem with 2 savior pieces is that you need to be above 70% HP and you get weapon and status damage plus 10%. While this is cool and all, 70% HP, sometimes you might forget about being above 70% HP. 4 shelter is actually still better because you get an additional 10% elemental damage. So that's how we're going to get our elemental damage, through shelter pieces. And 4 pieces will give us 30% of elemental damage once you stack it up. And then we'll balance it out later with mods, which I will get into soon. So we're also using Renegade shoes for reload speed. You could be going Bastel, but Bastel shoes would be above 70% HP, you gain 10% weapon damage, so I just stick with reload speed. And the keyword armor you need to have is barbecue gloves. You could be going with hardy gloves, but just stick with barbecue gloves because it increases the tick rate and the damage over time will be so much higher with these gloves. Alright, and now for the min-maxers out there, min-max stats that you possibly ever could have. So we're gonna jump into the mods for this gun. You wanna have flame resonance on the gun. Why? The flame resonance mod will give you extra 2 burn stacks, which means you could stack another +2 burn stacks. So now if you don't know how burn works, click O click escape, click blueprints, click on LMG, right click the LMG, click X on I keyword, and here it says burn. It deals 12% psi intensity as status damage every 0.5 seconds for 6 seconds, up to 5 stacks. So for that mod, we will increase it to 7 stacks, but it will burn less duration. As you can see, cells deal 12% psi intensity. So it basically just takes your 893 psi intensity. So we have 144, which means I would have to do 144 multiplied by 0.12. This is our burn damage for 1 stack. And then we check our stats. Status damage is 44.5 because we're buffed with Whimsical Drink. Blaze is 48.6. And now all we need to do is plug it in the calculator. And this is our burn damage, 37. Let's see. There it is. So if you want, you could be using Blaze Blessing, like if you don't want to use your heals and when you kill an enemy, you'll just get healed. You can stick with this, but at the cost of losing damage. All up to you though. We're not using Burning Wrath because we are using an LMG. We have so much ammo, so we'll take more damage over trigger chance. And then when burn is removed, stacks only minus 50%. This is good if you shoot an enemy twice. Then when it has 2 stacks burning, half of the stacks will disappear, which means 1 stack will disappear if it has 2. Then it will keep burning until it disappears. This might be good for PvP if you like spam shoot someone. Next up, we're using Deviation Expert on the Helm. The reason why we want that is because you get fire rate 10% and status damage 20%. And it's really good because we get status damage and we'll be able to balance out our elemental damage with status damage. The range doesn't matter because this is bullet fall off, so don't worry about the range. You'll still be able to shoot targets as far away as you would without the mod. And we have to use Blaze Amplifier for the mask. This thing will boost your burn and blaze damage, so I mean, we're not using Retrusion Explosion. By the way, the description here is wrong. I haven't updated that yet, but this is basically for a crit build, while this one's for elemental build. Okay, now for the gloves, it's a little bit complicated. So if you choose this preset over here, which is the Golden Wool Hide preset, you will need to stick with Elemental Overload because this will balance out your elemental damage all together with status damage because we're using Golden Wool on the mask. If you don't use Golden Wool though, that will be bad because you will have 166.5 status damage. So in this case, if you don't use Golden Wool, you have to get rid of the Elemental Overload and put in the status enhancement. As you can see, we'll have 186.5 and 168 elemental damage. But you obviously want to use Golden Wool. The only problem with Golden Wool is it's not always consistent 12% status damage, so it can be 6%, 8%, or sometimes 5%. Rarely it can be even 1%, so your damage is going to be unreliable but high. So for this preset, Elemental Overload, if you use the Lucky Rabbit Fur on your mask, which gives you 10% elemental damage when you hit a target, then you use Status Enhancement on the gloves. And now I'm going to show you the calculations for this. So now as you can see, this is the Golden Wool one. It gives literally 1 point higher damage. So there's almost no difference between these two. This one will be the best. This is the Lucky Rabbit Fur and this is the Golden Wool. So for the chest piece, it doesn't matter what you put. Just you can put a HP mod, damage reduction mod, whatever you want. I actually recommend putting Quick Comeback for the top piece because when you pop a heal, you will refill 100% of your ammo. Covered Advance is a must for this build as well. There's no other mod that you can use, so just stick with Covered Advance. And Precision Charge will be important for the pants. You will have to hit bosses or mobs in the head to receive elemental damage. And when you reload the gun, you will get 24% elemental damage. Google Doc will be available in the description and pinned comments. Every mod has 6% status damage on the substats, so that's why I include 6 everywhere on these mods. Cradle gives you 15% status damage, 25% as well when you shoot in the weak spots of enemies. Whimsical Drink gives you 44.5 if you have level 5 Chef, full buffs and max mood. Then we have all the 7 mods here, which gives us total of 56 elemental damage from that. And the rest is just from the mod's core effects. The armor gives us 8% elemental damage. It gives us 30 with the stacks. The gun passive gives us 30 elemental damage. And calibration, of course, gives us 20% elemental damage. And for the calibration, by the way, you need to have rapid, which is going to be fire rate calibration. And then we have the Lucky Rabbit Hide on the mask, which gives us 10% elemental damage. Now, this is actually very important, and it's actually better than Golden Wool. So I'm gonna jump into the game and show you what it does. I mean, it does exactly what it says. After scoring a crit, elemental damage plus 10% for 3 seconds. It's after you hit a elemental tick. So after you proc any elemental damage, which can be frost, shock, burn, and basically, if you take a look at my elemental damage right now, we have 24.6. And now I just need to hit a power surge. And now if we check our stats, it's 34.6. If I refresh it, it's back to 24.6. So it lasts for 3 seconds. As you can see, elemental damage boost for 3 seconds. Boom, there it is. So you will be always having that 10% elemental damage boost because with burn, you will be ticking the damage every single milliseconds, basically. And with Golden Wool, you do get 12% sometimes, but it's not always 12%. Sometimes you get 6%, sometimes you get 5%, sometimes you get 8%. It's always high, but it's not consistent 12%. So that's why we just stick with 10% hide here. Okay, so now for the substats on every single mod, you either go with elemental damage, second it has to be status damage, and third one has to be damage against gray ones. If you have all of these three, your damage will be the highest. You just want to hope that you get all 3 golds, basically. And the fourth substat could be reload speed bonus, green. The maximum color mods you can get is 3 gold and 1 green. You cannot go higher than that. Or you can go with elemental damage, status damage, gray ones, and elite enemies. I would personally go with reload speed bonus though. Another thing is, I made a mistake here. It's supposed to be Talon 7, not Talons 5 and Burn 2. So for the mod suffixes you want to focus is Talons 7. So every single mod has to be Talons 7. Always go with Talons. No burn suffix. Now we're going to jump into the burn suffix and explain why. So for example, burn, you can see that this one gives you burn damage plus 6%, but the only thing that it does is gives you blaze plus 6%. You don't get status damage or anything else. So you only benefit one thing from this. Burn damage does not give you damage increase on your explosions. So it's pointless to take burn damage. Boom Boom has a trigger chance of 18%, so if you get 12% trigger chance, it's not going to be 30%. It's only going to increase the trigger chance by 2% because it's base chance. Lastly, I'm going to show you that the burn damage does not increase explosion damage. So we're doing 926. There you go. Let's put on Cradle buffs, which gives us burn damage. And now you can see I have 30% burn damage bonus. We're still doing 926. 926. The burn ticking is increased, but the explosion damage is not. Now let's summon our deviation. Oh, it's shooting this one. Okay, well. So we do 6,447 damage right there. Now let's unequip the burn cradle. And you can see that we're still doing 6,447. We're doing 1,289 with explosion from the Boom Boom passive. Now I'm gonna equip it one more time quickly. You can see that we're still doing 1,289. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you guys have any questions, make sure to join my Discord. It will be in the description. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care and peace out.